The Great War Chamber of the United Galactic Council stood like a giant heart beating in the middle of deep space. The chamber was shaped like a perfect circle, built from shining metal that looked older than time itself. Blue light floated in the air like soft fog. Every inch of the room felt powerful, ancient, and dangerous. Around the huge circular table sat the strongest leaders of the galaxy. Each leader represented a different alien species that controlled worlds, armies, and entire star systems. Some were tall and armored. Some were insect-like with glowing eyes. Some looked like moving shadows. And some were giant reptilian creatures with teeth sharp enough to cut metal. But even with so many powerful beings in one room, every eye kept turning toward one thing. An empty chair. A single chair. Placed on the highest platform. Made of dark metal and glowing blue lines. A seat that no alien ever touched. And yet, it was always there. Every meeting. Every war discussion. Every crisis. The seat remained untouched. And always empty. The council leader, a massive creature named Zator, slammed a heavy staff on the floor. The sound echoed through the chamber like thunder. "Begin the session," he commanded. The room became silent. But the silence felt heavy, because of the empty seat. A smaller alien with crystal wings looked at it and whispered, "Why do we still keep that seat? They have not come for many years." Zator's glowing eyes narrowed. "They earned it." Another alien, one with a long metallic face, spoke in a low voice. "Humans disappeared. Their worlds are silent. Their signals ended long ago. Yet their seat remains. Why?" No one answered. The truth was simple. No one in the galaxy truly understood humans. They were strange. They were unpredictable. They were brave in ways that made no sense. And dangerous in ways that frightened even the strongest species. Aliens remembered one thing about humans. Whenever humanity stood in a war, the galaxy survived. That memory alone kept the seat in place. A deep voice rumbled from the shadows. The Kothar warlord spoke, his huge claws tapping the table. "Humanity vanished," he growled. "But the council keeps pretending they will return." Zator looked at the empty chair again. "It stays," he said simply, "because no one else deserves it." The tension in the room thickened. One alien, the youngest military leader, leaned forward. "But what if they truly died out? Their systems are empty. Their colonies abandoned. Their ships never returned. We should choose a new species for that seat." Zator's eyes flashed dangerously. "No," he said. "That seat is not for a species. It is for humans. And only humans." The chamber grew cold. In the far corner, a large hologram flickered to life. It showed a map of the galaxy, glowing in red and blue lights. Zator pointed to the red area spreading slowly across the map. "This is why the seat stays." Every leader leaned closer. The red zone was growing larger, almost like a spreading infection. "This is the old enemy," Zator continued. "The one only humans defeated." A whisper spread around the table. "The Void Swarm." The name itself made the chamber feel darker. "They were destroyed, were they not?" one alien asked nervously. "No," Zator said. "They were pushed back. By humans. Only humans." The Kothar warlord growled again. "And now humans are gone." Zator's gaze returned to the empty chair. "Then we must pray they are not." Silence again. Heavy. Emotional. Fearful. The chamber lights suddenly flickered. A deep alarm tone rippled through the room. Every alien leader turned toward the center hologram as it flashed with bright yellow warnings. "Incoming signal detected. Origin, unknown. Type human." The room exploded into shocked voices. "A human signal? This is impossible. Humans disappeared long ago. Is this a trap? Where is it coming from?" Zator slammed his staff again. Silence. The room fell quiet instantly. He turned to the hologram. "Locate the source." The hologram zoomed in, closer, closer, moving through star systems until it finally stopped on a small, lonely point of light. A forgotten sector. A dying star. A place no one visited anymore. From that point, a weak signal played, broken, damaged, but real. A calm, human voice crackled through the chamber. "If anyone hears this, this is Commander Elias Ward, last survivor, human outpost, request, contact." Then the signal faded. Every alien froze. A human. Alive. Speaking. For the first time in years. Zator turned slowly toward the empty seat. The blue light on the metal surface glowed brighter, almost like the chair itself was waking up. The council leader spoke in a deep, echoing voice. "The seat is no longer empty." Every alien stared at him. It waits, Zator said, for the one who sent that message. The chamber shook as he raised his staff. Send a team. Find the human. The aliens hesitated. Zator's eyes glowed like fire. Humanity may return, he said. And when they return, the galaxy will change. Far away from the bright and powerful chambers of the Galactic War Council. Far beyond the safe worlds and busy trade routes. A lonely human outpost drifted in the quiet darkness of space. The station was old. Rusty in many places. Lights flickering from low power. A forgotten place in a forgotten corner of the galaxy. And inside it lived one man. Commander Elias Ward. Elias sat at a narrow metal desk, staring at the faint glow of an old monitor. His uniform was faded, patched many times by his own hands. His face was tired, marked by long nights and too many lonely days. He had been here for years. With no contact. No help. No answers. The galaxy believed humans were gone. Dead. Lost. Extinct. And in his darkest moments, Elias sometimes believed the same. He leaned back in his chair, took a deep breath and whispered to himself. One day, someone will hear us. The outpost hum was the only reply. The communication system crackled weakly. He tapped the controls again, sending the same message he had sent every day for years. This is Commander Elias Ward, Human Outpost 73, requesting contact, any species, any ally, please respond. He waited for the usual silence. But today, something changed. The monitor flickered sharply. Static burst across the screen. A faint light blinked. Elias sat up straight. Come on, he whispered, adjusting the signal boosters. For a moment he thought it was another system glitch. Then, a faint reply came back. Human signal detected, please repeat, identify yourself. Elias froze. He had not heard another voice in years. Identify yourself, identify your species. The voice sounded alien. Come. Cold. Official. Elias swallowed hard. This is Commander Elias Ward of the Human Defense Fleet, he said, his voice shaking. I am alive. I am requesting contact. Please. The reply came again, stronger. Human confirmed. Elias felt his heart hammer in his chest. Human confirmed. Someone heard him. Someone finally knew he existed. He stood up so fast his chair fell over. This can't be real, he whispered. For years he believed no one would ever hear his signal. For years he believed humanity was alone. For years he believed he was the last one. Now, someone answered. The alien voice returned. Commander Elias Ward, stay at your outpost. A team is being sent for you. Elias blinked in confusion. A team? For him? He stepped closer to the screen. Who are you? He asked. Silence for a long moment. Then the alien voice replied. We are the Galactic Council. Elias stepped backward, stunned. The Galactic Council? The ruling power of the galaxy? The same council that once worked beside humans during the Great Wars? He thought the council had forgotten humans. He thought they believed humans were dead. That humanity no longer mattered. But now, they were sending a team. Elias slowly walked toward the small window of his station. Outside he could see the stars, cold, distant, uncaring. I knew we weren't finished, he whispered. But even as excitement filled his chest, fear grew inside him too. What if they were not coming as friends? What if they were coming because of something worse? What if the galaxy needed humans again, for a new war? His thoughts were interrupted by the sound of metal creaking. The old outpost groaned as if waking up after years of sleep. Warnings flashed on the screen. Power low. Life support weak. Air filter damage. Elias sighed. The outpost was dying. Just like everything humanity left behind. He walked through the dark corridors, touching the old walls. This place kept me alive, he said quietly. Even when no one else did. He reached the observation deck, a round room with cracked windows showing the endless stars. He pressed a hand against the glass. Why now? He whispered. Why after so many years? Behind him the old console beeped. A new message appeared. Council ship inbound. Estimated arrival, 3 hours. 3 hours. Elias felt the weight of that number. 3 hours until he saw another living being. 3 hours until someone stood in front of him. 3 hours until he learned the truth. He did not know whether to feel happy or terrified. He sat down slowly, hands shaking. What will they think of humans? He wondered. What will they think of me? He looked at himself, thin, tired, clothing worn out. Will they even believe I am human? He said with a sad laugh. But beneath the fear, a spark lit inside him. A small spark of hope. He whispered into the quiet room. If the galaxy needs us again, then maybe humans are not truly gone. The stars outside his window glowed softly, as if they were listening, as if they were waiting. And far away, racing through space at impossible speed, the Council's rescue team moved closer, toward the last human they had forgotten, toward the man sitting alone in the dark, toward the one who still carried the weight of humanity. 3 hours passed slowly for Commander Elias Ward. Every minute felt heavy, like time itself did not want to move. Elias stood in the observation deck, staring at the dark space outside. His heart beat faster with every passing second. Then finally he saw it. A faint blue light appeared in the distance. Small at first, then growing brighter, larger, closer. A ship. A real ship. Elias leaned forward, eyes wide. That must be them, he whispered. The blue light expanded until the full shape of the ship became clear. It was massive, much larger than any human ship he had ever seen. Alien markings glowed softly across its surface. A council vessel. It moved with perfect silence and grace, like it was carved from the stars themselves. Elias felt his breath catch. They actually came, he said quietly. They really came. The communication console beeped. Commander Elias Ward, this is Council Vessel Eris 1. We are preparing to dock. Elias swallowed hard. He had dreamed about human rescue ships coming to him. Never an alien one. He hurried through the dim corridor toward the docking bay. The metal floor shook lightly as the massive ship connected to the outpost. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. Then the door unlocked with a loud metallic hiss. Elias stopped. He felt a sudden fear deep in his stomach. What will they think when they see me? What will they say? Will they treat me like an enemy, or a relic? The door slowly slid open. Cold white light spilled into the dark hallway. Silhouettes appeared, tall figures with smooth armor and glowing blue visors. Elias took a step back. There were 3 of them. Their movements were calm, controlled, almost too perfect. The one in the center stepped forward. Commander Elias Ward? A voice asked, soft but powerful. Yes, Elias answered, forcing his voice to stay steady. I'm Elias. The alien lifted a hand and tapped the side of their helmet. The visor faded, revealing a face Elias had never seen before, pale silver skin, sharp eyes, and a calm expression. I am Lyrat of the Eris Council Fleet, the alien said. We received your signal. Elias stared in disbelief. You answered it, he said breathlessly. I've been calling for years. Lyrat nodded gently. We know. The message traveled far, beyond our normal patrol routes. But we heard it. Another alien stepped forward, slightly shorter with dark green markings. This one scanned Elias with a small handheld device. You are human, the alien confirmed. Elias almost laughed. I hope so. The team exchanged looks. Not hostile, more surprised. Lyrat spoke again. We believed humans to be extinct. For almost 50 years, no human signal has been detected. Your existence changes everything. Elias felt the words hit him like a shock. 50 years? Was humanity really silent for that long? He tried to keep calm. What happened to the others? He asked. To Earth? To our colonies? The aliens looked at each other. Lyrat spoke slowly. That information will be discussed. But first we must ensure your safety. 2 members of the team moved past him, inspecting the outpost. Their voices echoed down the hallway. Life support unstable. Power grid failing. Structure at risk of collapse. Elias felt embarrassed. I did my best to keep everything running, he said. Lyrat nodded. You have survived alone for many years. That is impressive. Elias was not sure if it was praise or pity. The green-marked alien returned and spoke to Lyrat. Captain, we should bring him aboard. This station is unsafe. Elias felt a sudden wave of panic. Leave the outpost? Leave the place he lived for so long? What will happen to this station? He asked. Lyrat looked around slowly. It has served its purpose. But it is time for you to leave it behind. Elias exhaled shakily. He looked one last time at the walls, the doors, the lights that had kept him alive. He whispered quietly. Goodbye. The aliens guided him toward the connecting passage. Elias walked carefully, almost nervous to step onto a ship that wasn't human-made. As he entered Eris 1, he felt warmth and bright light surround him. The air smelled clean. The walls glowed softly. Everything felt advanced, far beyond human technology. Is this normal for you? Elias asked. Lyrat tilted his head. This vessel is considered old by our standards. Elias blinked. If this is old, I don't even want to see new. For the first time Lyrat smiled, a small, curious smile. You may, he said. Soon. The door behind Elias sealed shut. The outpost, his lonely home, was now out of reach. He sat down slowly, feeling overwhelmed. Lyrat looked at him with calm eyes. Commander Elias Ward, he said, now that you are with us, your presence must be reported to the council. Elias nodded nervously. And what will the council do? Lyrat paused. There is an empty seat waiting for your species, he said quietly. And your arrival may change the future of the galaxy. Elias felt chills spread across his skin. An empty seat. Left for humanity. Waiting for him. Elias sat quietly inside the smooth, bright chamber of the council ship. Soft blue lights glowed along the walls. The air was warm and gentle, so different from the cold metal of his outpost. But inside him, fear and confusion were growing. Lyrat, the tall silver-skinned alien, stood beside him. The other two crew members monitored glowing screens. Elias finally spoke. Lyrat, earlier you said humans were believed to be extinct. Oh, why? Lyrat slowly turned toward him, eyes calm but serious. That answer, he said softly, is not simple. Elias's heart tightened. Lyrat continued. 50 years ago the galaxy changed. New powers rose. Old enemies returned. Many species suffered. And during this time, humans vanished from every known system. Elias shook his head. That can't be right. Humans were strong. We had fleets, colonies, allies. Lyrat nodded. You were strong. You were respected. Humans fought bravely in the Great Conflict. Many species survived because of you. Elias frowned. Then what happened to us? The room became quiet. One of the crew members, the green-marked alien, finally stepped forward. There was a final message, she said. A message sent from several human colonies. Elias turned sharply toward her. What message? Her voice lowered. One line, do not come for us. Elias felt cold fear crawl up his spine. Why would humans say that? He whispered. Because, Lyrat answered, something powerful hunted your species. Something the council could not identify. Something that destroyed or swallowed entire human settlements. Elias stared blankly. That's impossible. Humans would have fought back. They did, Lyrat said. But whatever attacked you left no survivors. No remains. No wreckage. No signals. Elias felt the room spinning slightly. His throat tightened. The green-marked alien continued. When your colonies went silent, the council searched for years. But every trace of humanity disappeared. It was as if your species simply faded into the dark. Elias shook his head slowly. And you all just assumed we were dead. Yes, Lyrat replied gently. Until today. Elias clenched his fists. So you had an empty seat for us just because you thought it was respectful? Because you felt guilty? Lyrat looked away for a moment. The council kept the seat empty because no species could replace humans. No one else filled your role. No one else had your nature. My nature. Elias asked. Lyrat nodded. Humans are different. Hard to kill. Quick to adapt. You fight when others flee. You stand when others fall. He looked at Elias with a strange mix of respect and curiosity. You survive things that should be impossible. Elias laughed softly, bitterly. I barely survived in that outpost. And yet, Lyrat said, you survived. Alone. For years. Elias didn't know what to say. The silence lasted a long moment, until the ship shuddered slightly. Captain, one of the crew called out, we are entering council space. Elias walked toward the transparent window at the front of the chamber. As the stars shifted, a new view appeared, a massive network of glowing stations, ships, and drifting cities. Colors mixed in beautiful patterns. It looked like a giant floating kingdom. Elias whispered, so this is the council. Lyrat stepped beside him. This is where your arrival will be judged. Judged. Elias repeated, alarmed. For what? Lyrat took a slow breath. You are the only known human alive. You represent your entire species. The council will want answers. Answers about what? Lyrat looked directly into his eyes. About whether humans truly died. Or whether something far worse is still out there. Elias felt a chill go through him. What do you mean? The green-marked alien answered. The thing that hunted your colonies may not be gone. It may still be searching. Elias felt a sinking feeling in his stomach. And you think it might follow me? Lyra did not deny it. We detected an unusual energy signature near your outpost, he said quietly. Very faint. Very old. But similar to the readings found at destroyed human worlds. Elias went completely still. He whispered, "Are you saying something was watching me?" "Perhaps," Lyra replied. "Or perhaps it marked your outpost long ago." Elias felt a shiver run through his entire body. "But now," Lyra added, "you are under council protection. No harm will come to you here." Elias hardly felt reassured. The ship descended through a massive energy barrier. A huge council platform came into view, towers, lights, enormous structures. Hundreds of alien ships flew in perfect formation. The green-marked alien spoke. "Prepare yourself, Commander. When we land, the council will ask you many questions." Elias nodded slowly. "And if they don't like my answers?" Lyra looked at him with steady eyes. "Then the empty seat will remain empty." He paused. "Or, the council may decide humans should never return." Elias felt those words hit him like a punch. He was not just one man now. He was the last human. And the fate of his entire species rested on his shoulders. The ship lowered toward the glowing council platform. Elias took a deep breath. "Whatever they ask," he whispered to himself, "I will face it." Lyra rested a hand on his shoulder. "Be strong, human," he said. "Your species always was." The ship touched down. The doors unlocked. And Elias stepped forward. Toward the council that believed humanity was gone. And toward the truth that could change the galaxy. The doors of Eris 1 slid open with a deep metallic hum. Bright white light washed over Commander Elias Ward, making him blink after years of dim darkness in his outpost. Hundreds of alien eyes turned toward him. He froze. The landing platform was enormous, large enough for 10 ships. Dozens of different alien species stood in perfect rows, watching silently. Their clothes, armor, and shapes were all different, but their expressions shared the same thing. A living human stood before them. Lyra stepped beside Elias and spoke loudly, presenting Commander Elias Ward. "Human." A wave of whispers rolled through the crowd. "Impossible. He's real? A survivor? How did he live alone? Does this mean the hunters are still out there?" Elias felt his throat tighten. He had never been so heavily stared at. Lyra gently pushed him forward. "Do not be afraid," he whispered. "This is only the beginning." Elias swallowed and walked across the platform. The crowd parted as he passed, keeping distance as if unsure whether to fear him or respect him. Some looked amazed. Some looked curious. Some looked terrified. At the far end of the platform stood a massive doorway shaped like a star. Guardians in tall crystal armor opened it as Elias approached. Beyond it was the Grand Council Hall. Elias stopped at the threshold, stunned. The hall was a circular chamber so large he couldn't see the ceiling. Holographic star systems floated above the seats. Each seat held a representative of a powerful species, some strange, some majestic, some frightening. But one seat, near the center, was different. Covered in white light. Untouched. Empty. The seat meant for humans. Elias felt a deep pain in his chest. He whispered, "That seat was waiting for us all this time?" Lyra nodded softly. "Yes." No other species dared to take it. A booming voice echoed across the chamber. "Bring the human forward." Elias was led to a raised platform in the center. He stood alone while thousands of alien eyes studied him. The council high speaker, a tall creature with 4 glowing eyes and shimmering wings, leaned forward. "Human," the speaker said, "state your name." "Commander Elias Ward," he answered. "Last known survivor of your species?" Elias hesitated. "I don't know," he admitted. "I don't know if I'm the last." The chamber filled with whispers again. The speaker continued, "We will ask questions. You will answer with truth. The future of your species may depend on it." Elias nodded. Another council member, a red-scaled reptilian, spoke. "How long were you alone?" "Years," Elias replied. "I lost count." A blue crystalline being asked, "Where were the others of your kind?" Elias shook his head. "I don't know. My outpost lost all contact during the final days. Every signal went silent." A dark, shadowy species member leaned forward. "And did you ever encounter the hunters?" Elias's heart skipped. "I don't know what the hunters are," he said carefully. "I only know something happened. Something terrible." The speaker's wings glowed. "Tell us what you remember," he commanded. Elias took a slow breath. My colony was under attack, he began. We received evacuation orders, but the attacker, it never showed itself. No ships. No signals. Just destruction. What kind of destruction? The speaker asked. Elias closed his eyes. People vanished. Whole buildings emptied. As if everything inside was erased. Like something invisible swept through us. The crowd murmured in fear. Lyrat stepped closer, watching Elias with worried eyes. Another council member spoke sharply. And you, why did it not destroy you? Elias opened his eyes. I don't know, he whispered. Silence fell. Then the speaker asked the question everyone feared. Human, do you believe the hunters survived? Elias looked around the massive hall, feeling the weight of the entire galaxy pressing on him. Slowly, he nodded. Yes, he said. I think they're still out there. A chilling silence spread through the chamber. The crystalline alien spoke next. Did it follow you? Elias felt a hard lump in his throat. I don't know, he answered softly. But something was near my outpost. Something old. Something watching. Fear rippled through the council. The speaker stood and raised a glowing hand. The human will be tested, he declared. We must confirm his memories and confirm the threat. Elias stepped back. Tested? How? But before anyone could answer, the doors to the chamber burst open. A breathless council guard rushed in. High Speaker, the guard shouted. A signal, unknown origin. Near the outer rings. The chamber tensed. What kind of signal? The speaker demanded. The guard swallowed. A repeating pattern. The same energy signature found at destroyed human colonies. The entire hall went silent. Elias felt a chill spread through his bones. The speaker turned slowly toward him. Human, he said in a heavy voice, your appearance may not be a coincidence. He pointed a sharp finger toward the empty seat glowing in white light. The galaxy prepared a seat for your species. He paused. But now we must decide if humans shall rise again. The lights dimmed. Or if they have brought danger back into our galaxy. Elias stood frozen, unable to breathe. The test had begun. And the hunters might not be far behind. The Grand Council Hall, moments earlier filled with controlled order, now trembled with tension. Representatives whispered in fear. Guards rushed to secure the entrance. Even the High Speaker's glowing wings dimmed with concern. Elias stood in the center of the room, feeling every heartbeat echo in his ears. The speaker pointed at the guard who brought the message. Repeat what you said, he ordered. The guard bowed, shaking. An unidentified signal has appeared in the outer rings. It matches the same energy readings that were detected at the last destroyed human colonies. A wave of fear spread through the hall. Some council members stood up. Others backed away from the center. Several whispered urgently to their aides. Elias felt cold. Lyrat quickly stepped close beside him. Do not panic, Lyrat whispered. This may not be what it seems. But Elias could hear the uncertainty in his voice. The speaker slammed a staff against the ground, creating a loud ringing sound that silenced the hall. Bring the signal to the main display, he commanded. The lights dimmed. A giant holographic screen formed above Elias. A strange symbol flickered on it, dark, shifting, unstable like a shadow trying to form words. Elias felt his skin crawl. That's not human, he whispered. No, Lyrat replied. It is the signature that followed the fall of your colonies. Another council member, a massive insect-like creature, spoke with a shaking voice. That signal means one thing. The hunters are near. The room grew colder. The speaker turned to Elias. Human, he said, you were the last to encounter traces of this threat. Tell us, does this symbol mean anything to you? Elias stared at the flickering shape. He didn't recognize it, but something deep inside him felt wrong. No, he said slowly. But when my colony disappeared, people said they heard strange sounds. They saw shadows move with no source. Maybe this is connected. Lyrat nodded grimly. It matches our old files, he said. Each destroyed world showed the same dark signature. The speaker raised his voice. And now it appears again, on the day a human returns to the galaxy. The implication hit Elias like a punch. Some council members immediately reacted. The human brought it. He is a beacon. Humans always attract danger. He must be isolated. Elias stepped back stunned. No. I didn't bring anything with me. I barely survived out there. But fear was growing faster than logic. Several alien guards moved closer. Lyrat quickly stood between them and Elias. Step back, Lyrat ordered firmly. He is under council protection. The speaker raised a hand. Peace, he commanded. No one will harm the human. Not unless proof is found. The guard stopped, but the fear in the chamber did not fade. Elias felt his throat tightening. He looked up at the speaker. What do you want from me? He asked. How can I prove I'm not responsible? The speaker's 4 eyes glowed. You will undergo a memory scan. Elias felt his stomach drop. A scan? He whispered. What does that mean? It means, Lyrat said softly, they will look into your memories. Your past. Your final days on your colony. The speaker continued. Your mind may reveal something hidden. Something you do not remember. Something the hunters left behind. Elias took a step back. I never agreed to that. The speaker's voice grew heavier. You are the only human in existence. You hold secrets your species never shared. You will submit to the scan. Lyrat touched Elias's shoulder gently. It is the only way to clear your name, he said quietly. And the only way to help us understand the threat. Elias closed his eyes. He had survived years of loneliness. He had survived fear. He could survive this too. Slowly he nodded. Fine. I'll do it. The speaker raised his staff again. Prepare the memory chamber, he commanded. The human will be tested immediately. 2 guards escorted Elias toward a large door on the side of the chamber. Lyrat walked with him, ignoring the fearful stares around them. As they entered a long, bright hallway, Elias whispered, Lyrat, am I in danger? Lyrat answered honestly. Yes, he said. From all sides. Elias swallowed. And the hunters? If that signal really means they're coming, what will the council do? Lyrat hesitated before answering. They will prepare for war. As they continued walking, Elias finally asked the question that sat heavy in his chest. Lyrat, what exactly are these hunters? What did they do to my people? Lyrat slowed his steps. After a long moment, he answered in a quiet voice. They did not kill your people, Elias. Elias blinked. Then what did they do? Lyrat looked at him with dark, serious eyes. They erased them. Completely. As if they never existed. Elias felt his breath stop. Erased. Not killed. Not captured. Removed. Lyrat continued. We never found bodies. Or ruins. Or debris. Only empty cities. Empty planets. And the dark signature. Elias felt his knees weaken. And now, Lyrat whispered, the same signature appears again, the moment you return. Elias felt the weight of 1,000 galaxies pressing on him. He whispered, what if they're coming for me? Lyrat did not answer. Because they both knew the truth. The hunters might already be here. The memory chamber door slid open with a slow, heavy sound. Commander Elias Ward felt a cold wind brush against his face. The room inside was dark, too dark, almost unnatural. Soft blue lights flickered awake as he stepped in. Lyrat stayed close behind him. This chamber is safe, Lyrat said gently. It will read only your memories. Nothing more. Elias wasn't convinced. Nothing in his life had been safe for a very long time. At the center of the chamber stood a floating chair surrounded by a circle of glowing symbols. A council technician approached, her crystalline body shimmering. Please sit, human, she said softly. The scan will begin soon. Elias slowly lowered himself into the chair. He felt metal plates move around his head and chest. A low hum filled the room. The technician stepped back. Beginning memory synchronization in 3, 2, 1. A bright flash filled Elias's vision. And suddenly, he wasn't in the chamber anymore. He was back home. He stood in the streets of his old human colony. Buildings stood tall. The air was warm. People were laughing. Children running. Shops open. Everything felt alive. Is this real? Elias whispered. A voice echoed inside his mind, the scan's voice. You are seeing your own memory exactly as it happened. Elias walked slowly through the town square. He saw his fellow officers, his friends, his neighbors, all alive. A feeling of grief struck him like a knife. He had forgotten so many faces. The voice echoed again. Continue forward. The event will reveal itself. Elias walked. Then, the wind changed. The sky dimmed. People around him stopped talking. Their smiles faded. They turned their heads upward. A strange color spread across the sky, like a dark ripple. A deep sound vibrated through the air, the same low hum Elias remembered from long ago. No, Elias whispered. Not again. The ripple grew larger. Light bent. Shadows stretched unnaturally. People began panicking, running, shouting. And then, they vanished. Not one by one. All at once. Like a silent explosion of emptiness. No screaming. No blood. No bodies. Just gone. Elias fell to his knees. "Stop this," he shouted. "Stop showing me." But the memory did not stop. A tall, shadow-like shape emerged from the rippling sky, blurry, shifting, impossible to fully see. It didn't have a face. It didn't have a body. But it had presence. Cold. Heavy. Terrifying. Elias had seen it once before years ago, but only for a second. Now it stood clearly before him. The voice of the scan trembled. Unknown entity detected. Not recorded in council archives. Elias whispered, "That's the hunter." The shadow turned toward him. Even in the memory, Elias felt its attention, its hunger, its cold interest. The scan's voice grew panicked. "This memory, it is responding to us." Responding? To a memory? Elias shook in fear. "No. It's not responding to the memory," he whispered. "It's responding to me." The shadow moved. Closer. 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 Elias couldn't breathe. Then, thud. The memory chamber jolted. Lights flickered. Elias snapped back into reality. Lyra was shouting. "End the scan. End the scan now." The technician slammed her hand on the controls. The machine powered down instantly. Elias gasped as the plates around him released. Sweat covered his face. What happened?" he panted. The chamber shook again. Lyra grabbed him. "The hunters found us." Elias froze. "What? How?" "You saw it," Lyra said urgently. "It connected to your mind. It followed the signal of the scan." Another impact rocked the chamber. Alarms blared. All council ships, battle stations. Elias could hear chaos outside. Screams. Running footsteps. Weapons charging. Lyra dragged Elias toward the door. "We must reach the central shield generator," he said. "If the hunters penetrate our defenses, the entire council world falls." Elias stumbled, trying to keep up. "But why come for me? Why now?" Lyra answered without looking back. "Because you are the last of your kind. And they do not leave anything unfinished." The hallway outside was filled with soldiers. Some insect-like, some robotic, some floating. All armed. All terrified. A massive explosion shook the walls. An alien guard shouted. "They're inside the outer ring." Another yelled. "They're bypassing our scanners. We can't see them. Invisible enemies." Of course. Elias felt his heart pounding. He forced himself to breathe. "Lyra, what can I do?" "You can run," Lyra said. "Stay alive. That is enough." Elias stopped walking. "No," he said quietly. "Running is not enough. Not anymore." Lyra turned toward him. "You are one human. Just one." Elias stepped closer. "And humans don't run. We fight." Another explosion shook the council hall. Lyra stared at him, then nodded slowly. "Then fight with us." They ran together toward the shield core. Guards formed a tight formation around them. The lights flickered. A cold wind swept the hall. A shadow appeared. Long. Twisting. Silent. One of the hunters had entered. The guards fired beams and plasma shots. But the shadow absorbed everything. Elias stepped back, terrified. The shadow turned toward him. Just like in his memory. Just like before. Lyra shouted. "Get him away from it." But Elias didn't move. The shadow reached toward him, stretching like smoke. Something in Elias snapped. He grabbed a fallen guard's energy rifle and aimed it at the creature. "You want me?" he shouted. "Then come for me." He fired. The blast passed through the shadow. But for a moment, the creature flickered. It weakened. Lyra's eyes widened. Human weapons affected? Elias fired again. The creature recoiled, losing shape. The energy inside Elias surged. Fear, anger, memory loss. "This is for my people," he yelled. He fired a final blast. The shadow let out a silent scream. And evaporated. Silence. The hall trembled. But the creature was gone. Lyra ran to Elias, shocked. "You defeated it. A human weapon defeated a hunter." Elias lowered the rifle, shaking. "I'm not special," he whispered. "Humans, we're always built different." Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "No," he said. "Humans are built for survival. For war. For hope." The alarms slowly shut down. Reports came in. Shadows retreating. Signature fading. Council world secure. The hunters were gone. For now. Later that day the council reconvened. Elias stood before them. Not as a survivor. Not as a relic. But as the representative of humanity. The speaker raised his glowing wings. The empty seat has been filled. The chamber roared with approval. The seat lit up with warm white light. Elias stepped forward and rested his hand on it. For all the humans who vanished, he said softly. For those who never got to sit here. I accept. The entire council bowed their heads. Lyrat smiled. You are no longer the last human, he said. You are the first of a new beginning. Elias looked toward the stars. The hunters were still out there.